Greetings, huntsmen and huntresses, and welcome back to RWBY-JPDE. Okay guys, now it's time for the peak event, and then the dance. With that said, let's begin. So, last minute things to do. Let's see what we got. I think it's only the thing with Blake, and that's it. Yep. Blake kept looking around when we arrived. You think what I know of her past, it's always out of habit, looking for exits, vantage points, or maybe I could have just been admiring the scenery. I'm able to see things in a normal light, you know. I know, but considering what we're here for and what kind of place it is, I believe the city was under your control. Well, more like Janara's, but sorta. So maybe I'm the one who's still on edge after our last date. I'm sorry, Kenshi. Please, it's not your fault. It's not your fault your ex is a crazy yandere who's completely spiteful to any human or faunus that happens to be within his vicinity. And he's also, as I've said, he's a bootleg Virgil. No, the ending. I don't really mind. It was a great way to wake up. But, Blake, whatever happened to me and Sun, the way we got strung up on those trees, this isn't about you leaving the Fang. That felt extremely personal. It was. Then, what is it? Why haven't we talked about it? I could say that it's because I don't want to involve you. You got involved anyway. So, it's because this world revealed just how much of a small, twisted, cruel person I really am. And you could care what I think about it? What I think about you? Yes. God help me, yes. There you go. Does that make you feel better, Blake? A sweet little kiss? But why? I'll tell you later. But I think you might have an idea already. And before you ask, guys, I actually have changed hair. I actually did buy another one of his sprites. So, yeah, we'll take a look at it in the next segment that involves her. See you guys in a few minutes. Peace. And we're back, guys. Sorry about that. Got a little frog in my throat. 6 months. Almost 6 months since I was born, really. I've done so many things, met so many people. Some that become allies, some that become enemies, and some that are complicated. And others that become so much more. Now, I have this invite, and I need to spend it by today. I need to think about all the people I've dealt with over these past few months and decide the one. Who is the one for me? The one person I want to invite to the Vital Festival opening dance as my +1. And I only have 2 options because I've mostly been doing characters who are not vital options in this route. Mostly just a little bit of Amber and Cinder and the Machali twins, if that's what they're called. Who shall it be? To complete JPDE, you are required to have brought at least 1 route to 4 dates to invite their corresponding character to the dance. And I've done that with Blake Belladonna. Blake. It's what I would like to say, but we need to have a talk first. We started interacting in a more than passing way by complete accident, discovering her taste in literature by bumping into her. I could have never guessed that the first interaction that she had something so dark weighing on her. Yeah. Knowing what I know now, I see a passion for reading in another light. Maybe I'm overanalyzing this, but is that why she gravitates to romance novels? where despite long roads of hardship and challenges, there's an assurance for a happy ending. Now, if you read other types of romance novels, the ones that always end in tragedy. After all, that's what Greek stories are all about. It's all about Greek tragedies, which is why most people don't look at the gods in that world favorably. I mean, after all, look at Orpheus. He's technically a tragic love story. If you don't know it, look it up. It's really depressing. Or that the story has an ending at all. That no matter what, once the last page has been turned, you can leave that story behind you. Instead of having to constantly get reminded that whatever you tried to leave behind may come back to it for interests at any time. So guys, I guess that's what happened. Whoever attacked me and Sun was tied to her in some way. We were targeted because of our connection to her. Neither she nor Sun told me much, so before thinking of an invite... Yeah, we need to, nip this in the bud right now. And yes, guys, this is the other clothing we had for her, which basically makes her dress up as Blair from Soul Eater. I think it's her name, Blair? Because I don't think it's Blake, I think it's Blair. Surprised to see me? A bit. You usually call or message. We need to talk. Yeah, I suppose we do. Well, here we go. So, where do we start? I should be asking you that myself. It's your story to tell. Except I still really don't want to, but I must. You're owed an explanation. You've gotten yourself mixed in with something you don't deserve, just because I like you. You can say that out loud. You shouldn't. Why not? Everyone who gets close to me gets ruined, one way or another. Ruined? That's a very interesting choice of words. Not hurt. Hurt is only part of it. Would you prefer if I asked you questions then? Yes, I think I'd prefer if you did. Okay, Blake, by any chance, was the person who came after me and Sun your ex-boyfriend? Who he is exactly? Adam Taurus. Here we go. There he is, the bootleg Virgil himself. As you guessed, he's my ex-boyfriend. He's also one of the Rokotsume. One of the Rokotsume. The what? It's Old Mistrali. It translates to 6 claws. They're the regional leaders of the White Fang. The Fang is organized into 6 districts, so to speak. Each one answers to the Rokotsume, who in turn answers to the Supreme Leader. Selena Khan, in other words. Northern Mistrali. Northern Mistral. Southern Mistral. Atlas. Vale. Southern and Northern Vacuo. Adam is the one in charge of the Vale region, but he wasn't when I met him. What was he then? Just another lost soul, born in Atlas. He had recently escaped bondage through one of our operations. He had suffered terribly and was so lost. He didn't know what to do with his anger and frustration either. Since his abusers had died in the operation, a better person would have helped him get better, prevent his past of abuse to define the rest of his life. Instead, he met me, a young, emotional, naive, toxic. I saw potential in him, so I persuaded him to enter the Fang. The problem is the Fang corrupted him in a worse way than you could ever imagine, and in doing so, filled his mind with poison. Yeah. That's what happens, I'm afraid. I only understood what I had done when he realized the potential rising through ranks. In an incredibly short time, being chosen to replace the previous Rokosume when they passed, and making the Veil chapter incredibly more violent and less discriminatory. Less discriminatory meaning civilians, women, and children, non-allied faunae, and to my shame, there was a point where I couldn't see a difference either. The nuisance, the us versus them, the black and white, it was all I could see. Blake, you were younger and stupider. When I eventually came to my senses and left, Adam took it very personally, and he even had every right to do so. I was the one who was radicalized him, and then I fled him, seeing him as nothing more than nothing but a monster. Is he? Yes, by my own making. Kenshi, you know how semblances are a reflection of a person's souls and personalities? I create copies of myself out of shadows, literally makes another me, and stuff. It's so full of my darkness. You understand what I'm trying to say? That you're going to turn me into the worst version of myself, or something like that? If Adam doesn't hurt you first, and if he's personally leading the Fang into whatever operation they're involved in the city, I'm sure he'll do his utmost to mix business and pleasure. Got it. Anyway, I mostly asked you to be my date to the dance. I mean, if you want to. Did you hear anything I just said? Every word. Whoa! Are you okay? I don't know. You don't care at all. You don't think about me any differently than before. Of course I do. I realize now that you carry a lot more than I thought, and that you have a very low opinion of yourself. You made some big mistakes too, from which you want to amend. How could you possibly amend to what I've done? I don't know. How could you? I don't know either. You think I haven't thought about this before? I know you have. Question is, are you going to stop trying? No! Cool. Cool enough for me. Good enough for me. Kenshi's got a good head on his shoulders. I sure don't understand you, Kenshi. Are you just superficial? Is that it? I'd like to believe I'm not. Maybe I'm just more open-minded, I mean. Keep in mind how short my life has been so far. I literally haven't had time to form a solid set of morals, and if I had been born like everyone else, you're living proof that there's no guarantee I would have it anyway. So right now, I don't really have enough of a defined moral compass to want to cut you out of my life because of your past mistakes. Brothers, I know I've made plenty myself, and I haven't been alive 6 months. Help a god to be resurrected, for one. And even if I wanted to judge, I don't really know enough about remnants, faunae, what the White Fang does to do so. All I have is hearsay and second-hand opinions, mostly from you. Not say that I don't trust you, but what you've shared so far is enough for me to cut you. It's not enough for me to cut you out of my life. And what about my influence? You're not the same Blake as before. I'm not Adam, and by that I mean I don't have only you to rely on. to rely on and attach myself to. Need I remind you, Evelyn and Penny are watching you like a hawk. They are? And are they okay with this? I put you in danger. Hey, remember Bartio? I have no choice but to say yes, do I? Blake, no. If you want to refuse, you can. Even if it's just because you don't feel like it. Or you don't like crowds. I just don't want you to feel like you have to refuse because you're going to a dance with me would ruin my life or something like silly like that. Just to warn you, I've never been to a dance event before. I can only dance... Wait, what? Menagerina? Menagerina? That's a weird one. Fair enough. I'm sure we can ask your partner to arrange for making that happen. But, just to be clear, what exactly is Majarena? Well... Okay, now I'm curious. Well, guys, I'm going to end the video here. In the next part of the route, we're going to be seeing the actual dance itself. So that's it, guys. It's Jeff, and I'm out of here. See ya.